potato.
Hello, I'm Blake Johnson. It's 4 o'clock and these are our top stories. Anti-lockdown protesters swarm the shrine, clashing with police. Plus, the race to contain the northern suburbs cluster as Victoria records just one COVID case, leaving Melbourne on track for significant changes next week. Geelong and Richmond fans count down to the AFL Grand Final and candidates cut off mid-sentence as Trump and Biden go head-to-head.
This is 7's Afternoon News with Blake Johnson.
First at 4, anti-lockdown protesters have clashed with police as they tried to move across the city. Live now to Cassie Zervos. Cassie, bring us up to speed.
Good afternoon, Blake. Well, as you can see, we are now swarmed by anti-lockdown activists. They gathered here at 2 o'clock this afternoon to voice their frustrations. Police were taking no chances and moved in, making several arrests. They then began to march down busy St Kilda Road, and that's when the violence escalated even further. We had a chance to speak to some of them today. Please take a listen.
Restriction measures have taken a heavy toll on each of our lives. Lockdowns, mandatory masks, house travel limitations, curfews and business shutdowns. We have been very patient with the medical advice that has been given.
We're going to get a grip, mate. People got to wake up, we've got to stand up, we're going to get on with it. We're going to open this up.
Well, Blake, things have escalated this afternoon, as you can probably hear and see. I'm going to have to throw it back to you because it is getting very violent down here at the Shrine of Remembrance. Blake.
Cassie, you get yourself to safety. Thank you. The race to contain the northern suburbs cluster has ramped up. 800 people are in isolation and an entire school and their contacts told to get tested. The Premier confirms we'll still have significant restriction announcements on Sunday as the state recorded just one new case and no deaths. Live now to Jade Vincent. Jade, talk us through today's developments.
Blake, that one new case is the parent of a student from the East Preston Islamic College, but neither this mother or her child had contact with the student who returned to school while infected earlier this week. So while that's under investigation, the entire school community has been told to get tested, whether they have symptoms or not. So now 2 positive cases linked to the school. So contact tracers have been very quick to get onto their close and secondary contacts. Right now, along with those associated with the northern suburbs outbreak, there are currently 800 people who've been told to isolate at home.
We now have 2 positive cases in the broader school community, and although they are not linked at this point, we are keen to ensure there are no other traces anywhere else. The importance of going wide quickly, of testing as many people as possible, and then trying to focus in on any remaining cases that we have.
It was good news today for residents from the Broadmeadows social housing complex who'd been locked down earlier in the week. 86 residents were tested there, all returned negative results, so they were given the all clear to leave their homes. Again, our numbers today are encouraging. Just one new case, no new deaths, and that rolling average almost hitting that magic number. It's right now at 5.5. The Premier says we are on track for him to make some significant announcements on Sunday. He did hint towards that 25-kilometre travel radius and the metro regional border. Blake?
Jade Vincent, thank you. There's a big win for residents of Little River. Overnight, they've gone from being part of Melbourne's lockdown to enjoying life in opened-up regional Victoria. The town had been pushing for the metropolitan border to go around the town rather than through it, and the Mornington Peninsula is also pushing to be considered part of regional Victoria. Richmond and Geelong are expected to name unchanged teams for tomorrow night's grand final in Brisbane. Tom Brown is at the Gabba for us on grand final eve. Tom, it took 220 days, but the AFL got there.
It's been an unusual season and a massive achievement by the AFL and the clubs. Good afternoon, Blake. Now, in a short time, Richmond will arrive here at the Gabba for a familiarisation run this afternoon. We'll be inside and bring you some of those pictures. Earlier, as per tradition, the captains and coaches spoke back at Metricon on the Gold Coast. Chris Scott not game to predict the weather tomorrow night. There's predicted showers, which should suit the Tigers, but he was going to predict the side, and there won't be any changes as far as the Cats are concerned. Patrick Dangerfield emphasising this week they're not here, the Cats, to stuff it up. Both coaches this afternoon explaining these are really closely matched sides and the best in the competition.
It's easy when the road's smooth and you can sit there and just sit above the water, but I think you find a lot about yourself and a lot about your people when times are tough.
I think even Gill said that the teams that were the most agile and the ones that embraced the situation were probably going to be the ones that played the longest.
Joel Selwood's won 3 flags, Blake, and even he is envious of Richmond's recent success. I'll have the latest from inside the ground for Richmond's training shortly.
Good on you, Tommy. Thank you. And in Geelong, Cats fans are marking their team's grand final appearance with socially distanced celebrations. While the pandemic has robbed the city of the best traditions this year, their passion remains as strong as ever. Laurel Irving explains.
Well, this has been the strangest season any of us have experienced, and now we'll have a grand final like no other here at the Cats' homeland, their home stadium in Geelong. The players are 1,400 kilometres away, but their most passionate fans are maintaining a vigil here, and I'm joined now by Geelong's most prominent supporter, Troy the Catman West. Woo! Troy, tell me what this week's been like.
This week, have to take the fangs out. This week has been crazy. It's been a mixture of tears, of sadness and happiness, and we're so happy to be there, but we're really happy to be there in the grand final, but not happy that we can't be there. So we thought we'd come to the heartbeat of the football club, which is the footy club, and we're going to have a 2-day on vigil here. So back tomorrow again to do it all again and cheer on the community and bring everyone here to, like they're all kids here, and photos and filming and video, and it's great, and the community are getting involved and trying to make everyone feel like it's grand final.
Because it's hard, isn't it? Because the players are so far away, and all of the traditions we normally associate with grand final week are not part of it this year.
Straight to Melbourne to the MCG, and there's none of that now. So I had to do a detour and come to Geelong. I live up in the country, so it was well, there we go. So everyone obviously is in the mood. So we're down, but we're upbeat. Yeah.
Exactly. How do you go about watching the game? Will you do it here?
No, we can't do it here. Well, it's going to be too maybe dark and cold, and it's going to be like 13 degrees and rain. So unfortunately, we do what everyone else in Melbourne, Victoria are doing. So we're going to be watching it at home just with friends on quietly, like this, mind you. And I'm not going on the Zoom fan zone either. So
okay.
Just sitting on the couch.
So not quite like everybody else, just like that.
Not quite. No.
And what happens if you win? How do celebrations take place?
Well, we're going to get in the car and we're going to drive through the stretch along with our flags out the window, so we're still allowed to do that, and we're going to scream, get out and walk up the main street. We can still do that as long as there's less than 10 of us, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to cheer the town down.
Well, best of luck for tomorrow.
Paint it blue and white. Go Cutters! Yeah! Cutters all the way!
Donald Trump and Joe Biden have gone head-to-head in the final debate 12 days out from the US election. It was a much calmer affair this time round, with new rules in place to stop interruptions. Ashley Mullaney joins us live from Nashville, Tennessee. Ash, just after midnight there, any indication yet of who won this debate?
Well, Blake, the president went into tonight's debate lagging about 8 points in the poll. So the big question will be, does this move the needle at all tomorrow with voters? The majority have already made up their minds. 40 million have already cast their ballots. But as for tonight's debate, as we expected, COVID-19 was the topic that got the most airtime. It's something that's dominated this year, this election cycle. And tonight's debate, the president facing some tough questions.
Over soon. I say we're learning to live with it. We have no choice. We can't lock ourselves up in a basement like Joe does. He has the ability to lock himself up. I don't know. He's obviously made a lot of money someplace, but he has this thing about living in a basement. People can't do that.
He says that we're learning to live with it. People are learning to die with it.
Now, after the chaos that we saw in Cleveland at the last debate just 3 weeks ago, so much has happened between now and then. The president has caught coronavirus himself and recovered from it. But after that chaotic debate, there were some new rules in place this time. The moderator had a mute button at her disposal. So the overall look and feel of the debate was far more civilised, although the pair did lock horns and there were some fiery exchanges on race relations. Take a listen.
Nobody has done more for the black community than Donald Trump. And if you look, with the exception of Abraham Lincoln, possible exception, but the exception of Abraham Lincoln, nobody has done what I've done. I think I have great relationships with all people. I am the least racist person in this room.
Abraham Lincoln here is one of the most racist presidents we've had in modern history. He pours fuel on every single racist fire.
Right, Ash, 12 days out from Election Day. What now for the two candidates?
Well, Donald Trump will be straight back out on the campaign trail and he won't have a mute button at his rallies. We know that he'll be holding about 3 to 4 events, 3 to 4 rallies every day leading up to the voting day. Joe Biden, I think we can expect to see him maintaining this low-key approach, although we will see Barack Obama going out endorsing him over the coming days too. Blake?
All right, Ash, thank you very much. Up next, the call for Australian volunteers to test a controversial COVID medication, plus how state borders could open by Christmas, and the bombshell Jeffrey Epstein's girlfriend tried to keep secret. Back soon across Victoria, South Australia and Tasmania.
It's a treat for your taste buds.
So good.
Salad in a soup that's a surprise for the senses.
I'm gonna love it.
Pie that packs a punch.
The perfect picnic dessert.
And the herb garden with flavour to top it off.
This will keep me going for ages.
On New Better Homes, tonight at 7 on 7.
Boys.
Watch Sky Racing live, anywhere. Now available on Sportsbet.
Have you tried the apple cider vinegar diet? Now you can with Nature's Way and their lifestyle plan. Feel fit and look fabulous this summer with Nature's Way apple cider tabs.
My way is Nature's Way. Hyaluronic acid. There's a reason dermatologists love it.
L'Oreal Paris introduces a powerful serum. Revitalift Filler Hyaluronic Acid Serum. Our highest concentration of hyaluronic acid deeply hydrates, smooths the skin surface and replumps lines from within. In 6 weeks, wrinkles are visibly reduced by 47%.
Now we're talking.
Revitalift Filler Hyaluronic Acid Serum from Australia's #1 anti-aging skincare brand, L'Oreal Paris.
Well worth it.
Waiting up for something special? Look no further, big boy. Try top-toed exotics from Sportsbet. Get the best payout across all 3 tabs. Whether it's a Cornella or a Quaddie, you'll get the biggest return with Sportsbet.
New season outdoor range now available at Domain. Live life outdoors. Style a retreat at home with the latest in wicker and gorgeous recycled teak. Create your own backyard oasis with slick lines and breezy rope detail. Choose the natural beauty of timber to laze away your weekend in comfort and make the most of smaller spaces with our selection of balcony furniture. Plus, take advantage of 60 months interest free and receive a bonus gift card up to $500. New season outdoor now at Domain.
Your destination for the hottest new shows is Stan.
Come and get it. I plan to.
New seasons of the Stan shows you love.
You think you're smarter than me?
And exclusive new shows everyone is talking about.
I expect loyalty.
The Comey Rule, The Good Lord Bird, The Spanish Princess, Brave New World, Condor, Power Book 2 Ghost, I Hate Susie, Yellowstone, and so much more. Oh! The hottest new shows are only on Stan.
Boys.
Watch Sky Racing live, anywhere. Now available on Sportsbet.
When life gives you messiness, Godfrey's gives you cleanliness. Introducing the Tinko Floor One S3, an intelligent hard floor cleaner that detects, vacuums and washes in one smart step. Discover our exclusive Tinko range in store or online. Godfrey's Cleanliness.
There's been a breakthrough in Australia's border battle. Taylor Aitken is in Canberra. Taylor, bring us up to speed.
Well, Blake, in a press conference after the National Cabinet meeting, Prime Minister Scott Morrison confirmed that 7 out of 8 states had committed to the goal of reopening state borders and the economy by Christmas. That is, except with the exception of WA. Their borders will likely stay closed until at least March.
And finally, there's some good news for Australians overseas desperate to come home.
There is, Blake. Good afternoon. With 2 states agreeing to take on more returning passengers each week, Western Australia and Queensland agreed to further increase their arrival caps from next month, with an additional 140 people allowed into hotel quarantine in Perth each week and 150 in Brisbane. Currently, there are more than 30,000 Australians still stranded overseas. However, 1,200 of the 4,000 people considered to be vulnerable have arrived back on Australian soil.
So we continue to make good progress towards returning Australians home, and we want to do that as effectively and quickly as safely as possible.
Earlier this afternoon, a repatriation flight from London landed in Darwin with 161 Australians on board, who will now start 2 weeks quarantine at the Howard Springs mining camp. Scott Morrison also confirmed the government is looking at other options for quarantine, including the use of farms, mining camps, campuses, or even quarantining at home. Blake?
All right, Taylor Aitken in Canberra, thank you. Melbourne scientists pioneering a controversial COVID drug trial are calling for more volunteers. As Estelle Greepink explains, they're investigating if hydroxychloroquine can prevent healthcare workers from catching the virus.
Well, it's the drug that became pretty controversial after Donald Trump revealed he'd been taking it to try and prevent coronavirus. Hydroxychloroquine hasn't been proven to prevent COVID-19 infections, but researchers at the Walter and Eliza Hall Institute want to explore all options in case it can help combat the virus.
I think there's an element of harm to dismiss the drug if it actually if it's got a potential role to play in preventing healthcare workers from getting COVID-19. Whilst we're waiting for that vaccine, we still need to look and discover new drugs that might be able to impact the pandemic.
Frontline healthcare workers who have signed up for the trial say they want to help in any way they can.
The risk that I would have asymptomatic infection and transmit that to others is something that we really worry about. So anything that you could potentially do to reduce that risk of getting COVID and then potentially infecting others is really important.
We won't know the results of the trial until next year, but if it does prove to be successful, researchers say it could be used in aged care settings to protect the most vulnerable or for people embarking on overseas travel. The Institute is hoping to sign up the last of the participants for their study by next week.
US whistleblower Edward Snowden has been given permanent residency in Russia. The 37-year-old is accused of espionage and theft of government property for leaking information on American intelligence and mass surveillance. He's been living in exile in Moscow, but says he would return to the US if he could be guaranteed a fair trial. Your sport hit is next after the break. We'll cross live and hear from both captains ahead of tomorrow's grand final. Also, the Storm Star soaking it up before facing the Panthers in the NRL decider, and a shock scratching ahead of tomorrow's Cox Plate. Stay with us right here on 7.
Tonight, the massive Marvel event. Avengers Age of Ultron, tonight on 7.
Switch things up this Saturday at Moonee Valley, Randwick and Doomben on races 1 to 4 and pick between W winnings and bonus bets or bonus back if your runner finishes 2nd or 3rd. Ladbrokes, back yourself.
Hyaluronic acid. There's a reason dermatologists love it.
L'Oréal Paris introduces a powerful serum. Revitalift Filler Hyaluronic Acid Serum. Our highest concentration of hyaluronic acid deeply hydrates, smooths the skin surface and replumps lines from within. In 6 weeks, wrinkles are visibly reduced by 47%.
Now we're talking.
Revitalift Filler Hyaluronic Acid Serum from Australia's #1 anti-aging skincare brand, L'Oréal Paris.
Well worth it.
Who are you backing in the Ladbrokes greatest ever Cox Plate? Winx or Deep Impact? Kingston Town or Sunline? Watch the running of the race this Friday night on 7/2 or on your Ladbrokes app. Ladbrokes, back yourself.
Knowing what's really important, feeling comfortable being you. Life over 30 can mean a lot of changes, including your bones. Bone mass peaks in our 30s. You need enough vitamin D to maintain bone strength, as well as good diet and exercise. Look after your bones with new Osterlin Bone Strength, with the added benefit of magnesium, iron or collagen support. Try new Osterlin Bone Strength.
Beacon VIPs get ready for summer with 40% off your second item. Mix and match anything from our entire range and get 40% off your second. VIPs only. Join for free now. Ends this Sunday.
Now is our chance to protect tomorrow the way we have for generations. Because protecting those moments is in our hands.
Switch things up this Saturday at Moonee Valley, Randwick and Doomben on races 1 to 4 and pick between W winnings and bonus bets or bonus back if your runner finishes second or third. Ladbrokes, back yourself.
When a hard game leads to a rousing celebration, tackle pain fast with Advil Liquid 90s capsules from Chemist Warehouse. Absorbed 2 times faster than standard Advil tablets, it provides relief from pain caused by headaches, period pain, dental pain and more. Right now at Chemist Warehouse, Advil Liquid 90s capsules are just $9.99. And new to the range for persistent pain, Advil 12 Hour. Live, look, feel well at Chemist Warehouse.
Farlap or Winx? Mighton Power or Kingston Town? Who will you be backing in the Ladbrokes greatest ever Cox Plate? Watch the running of the race this Friday night at 8:30 on 7/2. Ladbrokes, back yourself.
One man is seriously injured and another hurt following a violent confrontation early this morning. Investigators are piecing together exactly what happened at the Blackburn home. There are reports one man was stabbed and officers have marked out a crime scene at the property. Sport now with Andrew McCormack and Mac, and no surprise, it is all about the grand final tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely, Blake. And both captains and coaches have remained coy at this afternoon's press conference. Let's head to Tom Brown now, who's at the Gabba. And Tom, the Tigers are about to have their final training session.
Andrew, an interesting aspect to the grand final is the contrast in approaches. Geelong will stay on the Gold Coast tonight. Richmond have come to Brisbane early. Now, it's partly a reflection of Geelong's really good form here at the Gabba this year. Richmond keen to get a run on the Gabba, which they'll do shortly. And also just they think it's better in terms of the traffic tomorrow. This is Trent Cotchin addressing their preparation this afternoon.
From an individual point of view, he just takes care of what he can control, and that's what makes Dusty such a unique player. He's clearly got amazing attributes, which I'm sure we would all love to possess some of them, but we don't, and that's what makes him such a unique beast.
Dusty versus Danger, a great aspect of the grand final tomorrow, as is, of course, Gary Abbott's story. Specifically, Andrew came back to Geelong for this notion of a fairy tale finish to what's been one of the best careers in AFL and VFL history. Joel Selwood speaking about that this afternoon, and also the Cats' preparation.
Very small, and that's no disrespect to him. Hopefully, I speak of everyone, but we've celebrated him the right way, and yeah, it would be lovely to see him up there receiving a medal at the end of the day, but I'm sure Trent's going to say different.
Of course, Patrick Dangerfield, another great story. He's never played in a grand final since the under-12s, Andrew. Richmond, due to train in 10 minutes or so, will be inside and bring you the latest as it comes to hand this afternoon. And certainly shortly in our bulletin at 6 o'clock, Andrew, I'll have the Premiership Cup.
Beautiful. Thank you very much, Tom. Tom Brown in Brisbane there. To the NRL Grand Final in Melbourne Storm's Cam Munster is soaking up as much as he can from Cameron Smith, possibly for the last time. The star playmaker is considered Storm's captain in waiting and is relishing his time with Smith ahead of Sunday's Grand Final.
Crazy to think that he's been such a great leader for our club and leader for this game. And if anyone wants to emulate a person like Cameron Smith, then rightly so.
Smith will make a call on his future after the game. European Raider Magic Wand has been scratched from tomorrow's Cox Plate. Equals second favourite Armoury was past fit to run after a vet inspection this morning. Russian Camelot remains the favourite, but it shapes as a fascinating race.
If I had my choice, it would be Armoury. I just think it's a perfect draw. Just such a healthy respect for the Aidan O'Brien team. It's the most open we've had in years.
Jockey Hugh Bowman will be part of Seven's coverage tomorrow. The action from Moonee Valley starts with tonight's Group 1 Manikato Stakes live and free on 7-2 from 8 p.m. Blake, that's all for sport, but what a weekend. We've got the Cox Plate tomorrow. You've got the AFL Grand Final, first ever under lights, of course, and then the Storm NRL Grand Final on Sunday. So it's a wonderful weekend to be on the couch, and of course you catch all of the action tomorrow right here on 7.
Still feels weird that we don't have it here, but we'll get used to that this one year. Thank you, Macca. There's been a bombshell revelation about Jeffrey Epstein's relationship with Ghislaine Maxwell, but there was one key detail missing: any mention of Prince Andrew and the royals' alleged connection to the pedophile. Hugh Whitfeld has more.
This is the transcript of a deposition that Ghislaine Maxwell and her lawyers wanted to be kept secret, fearing it may influence a jury at her upcoming trial. In the transcript, Maxwell admits procuring massage therapists for her then boyfriend, the now dead convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, but says she never saw Epstein engage in, quote, inappropriate underage activities. One key name appears to be missing, though, from the transcript, and that is, of course, Prince Andrew. Now, there are incidents described in the deposition that Prince Andrew has long been connected with, including those claims by then 17-year-old Virginia Roberts that she was forced to have sex with the Duke of York on a visit to Ghislaine Maxwell's London home. Maxwell appears to deny that ever happened, and of course Prince Andrew denies ever even meeting Virginia Roberts, despite that photo appearing to show the two of them together. Royal commentators in London say that every time Prince Andrew is connected publicly with the Epstein case, it just further delays any chances he may have of returning to full royal public life. And all of this will reach somewhat of a crescendo mid-next year when Ghislaine Maxwell's trial gets underway in New York.
800 people are in isolation as health authorities fight to stop the northern suburbs outbreak. Our top stories are just ahead. Plus, anti-lockdown protesters clash with police in the city. Fears small businesses are being left behind in COVID plans. And footy fans count down to the historic grand final. We're back in just a couple of minutes. Done. Come on.
Let's get together for brekkie.
It's informing.
To breaking news now.
Unfolding by the hour.
You good, honest, hardworking people. What can we do?
Genuinely, thank you for caring. It's life-changing.
$70,000. No way.
Yes! That's why Australia starts the day feeling good.
Baby, how you feeling?
Invest with La Trobe Financial, Australia's multi-award-winning wealth manager, returning a current variable rate of 4.5% reviewed monthly on a 12-month investment. Make your money work harder for you. Call 138010.
Take Cox Plate Day to the next level. Back a horse in any race at Moonee Valley this Saturday and if it runs second or third, get up to $50 back in bonus bets. Take it to the next level.
Optus knows family life can be complicated. That's why you can share a massive 250 gigs across 4 SIMs per month with the Optus Family Plan. It starts with yes.
Muscle and osteopain can really tie you down. That pain is caused by inflammation. Nurofen helps reduce inflammation and relieve osteo and muscle pain for up to 8 hours. Break free with Nurofen.
Right now, you can get the LDV T60 Auto for the price of the manual.
Feels good, doesn't it? The LDV T60 4x4 diesel auto from just $28,990. Visit an LDV dealer today.
Did someone say KFC?
I don't care. I love it. Take the AFL Grand Final to the Neds level. Neds is offering $2 lines on Geelong and Richmond this Saturday. Get more out of Neds $2 lines and add it to your multi. Take it to the Neds level.
The Cane pub style are too good to play second fiddle. From now on, chips will come with a side of mains. We'll have chips and fish shops and we'll ask, would you like burgers with that? Because these chips are the main event. Oh, McCain, you've done it again.
This is 7's Afternoon News with Blake Johnson.
If you've just joined us, hundreds of lockdown protesters have clashed with police in the city. Jodie Lee has the latest. Jodie, bring us up to speed.
Afternoon, Blake. Well, there were 10 scenes at the Shrine of Remembrance this afternoon. Hundreds of anti-lockdown protesters turned out, many of them not wearing face masks, but they were met by an equal number of Victoria police officers, both on foot and on horseback. Officers used their bodies to build a kind of ring of steel around the protesters and box them in, and that's when they began to arrest them and forcibly remove those people who refused to identify themselves. After that clash, the group dispersed and began to walk towards Parliament House.
And Jodie, health authorities have increased efforts to contain the northern suburbs cluster.
That's right. Victoria's single case of coronavirus overnight is a woman. She's the mother of a student at East Preston Islamic College, but authorities say that her child hasn't come into contact with any other known cases of coronavirus at the school. So they are now working with contact tracers to identify the source of that coronavirus case. 800 people in the northern suburbs are now in isolation. It comes as Victoria prepares to ease restrictions on Sunday.
Won't be that a whole range of restrictions come off from Sunday arvo. It's going to be a lead in. There'll be a couple of days, I think, for people to get ready for that. So we do have a few more days of data to come through before those changes would actually happen, but we're confident in where things are at the moment.
Premier Daniel Andrews says all restrictions are on the table. They're obviously looking at reopening retail and hospitality, but the Premier could also axe that 25-kilometre travel limit and potentially open travel to regional Victoria for people living in metropolitan Melbourne. But any changes that are made won't be effective immediately on Sunday. The Premier says he'll give us a number of days before those changes come into effect. Blake?
All right, Jodie, thank you. The nation's peak franchise industry body fears the state government's reopening guidelines will take too much of a toll on small businesses. They're concerned COVID-safe plans are too complex and costly for shop owners to comply with at a time when they've already compromised so much to stay afloat. For more, we're joined by the Chief Executive of the Franchise Council of Australia, Mary Aldred. Mary, talk us through the difficulties small businesses face when opening up.
Small business owners are under a raft of challenges and pressures at the moment in either opening up under very complicated, detailed plans or not being able to open up at all. So they're looking ahead to Sunday for a clear and precise plan and way forward. We need to open up regional Victoria and regional businesses for metropolitan people to come and visit to. They've had droughts, bushfires and now COVID-19 to deal with, and they desperately need tourism numbers coming into that really critical Christmas trading period. We've got small businesses in in restricted Melbourne at the moment that are unable to operate at all and are getting no clarity or timeline when they might be able to do that. We've got the fitness industry, thousands of employees and small businesses desperate to get back to work, and they haven't been communicated with on when that might happen.
So what do you think the government can do to help you out more?
Well, COVID-safe plans are already very comprehensively implemented in a number of key sectors, including retail, food retail. The fitness industry have one ready to go. What we need to make sure is that small business mum and dad cafe owners don't have to comply with a mountain of paperwork and red tape just to be able to reopen. There should be a simple checklist that they're able to comply with.
Do you think COVID-safe plans suit bigger franchises and shopping centres?
franchise businesses have very comprehensive systems in place. That's sometimes harder for small business owners to be able to comply with, and that's why we've said to the government very clearly that there needs to be simple, straightforward checklists in place that everyone can comply with and get across. At the moment, the cost and the risk of compliance is put completely on the shoulders of small business owners to make sure that they're adhering to. We've got frustrated, grumpy patrons, especially in regional Victoria at the moment, where business owners and their staff are being harassed when they're asking them to comply with those sort of things. So the government need to step up and provide additional support to small business owners.
All right, we'll see what Sunday's announcement brings. Thanks for your time, Mary.
Thanks very much.
And speaking of, this weekend we'll see a new wave of crossed restrictions ease between Victoria and South Australia. As Mike Smithson explains, it opens the door for hundreds of people to move freely for work, sport and recreation.
There's now light at the end of the tunnel, both sides of the South Australian-Victorian border, and authorities here today moved into a new phase.
It's all about getting back to normal as quickly and safely as possible. Relaxed border restrictions are crucial to those who need to cross over. It means those within 70 kilometres either side can go about their normal lives.
If you're within that 70k limit either side, you can travel freely for whatever reason up and down the border, so you're not restricted anymore.
South Australia is also recruiting 42 state emergency volunteers to step up to the front line. They're no longer working for free. This paid job for 5 months means they'll join police to patrol on two equally important fronts.
And they'll be able to help deter firebugs, and they'll also be able to help with things like compliance checks during COVID-19 as well.
So very, very important work, and we're very glad to be here.
Unique opportunity. I've never seen something like this come up in my time in SES.
For most, it's not about the money. They've enlisted to make a difference as they take on new skills and responsibilities. Mike Smithson, 7 News.
A man has died and 2 others are injured after 2 cars collided in Elwood last night. The driver of the Nissan died at the scene. 2 men in the Holden Ute were taken to hospital under police guard. Anyone who witnessed the crash is asked to call Crime Stoppers. Richmond's greatest ever player, Royce Hart, has revealed he's too fired up to watch the grand final tomorrow on TV. He'll listen to it on his car radio, driving around Hobart. But other Tigers fans are taking a very different approach.
Die-hard Richmond fans say there's never been a more important time to publicly show that Tiger spirit. Brenda Hilton's all dressed up with nowhere to go.
China Tigers!
But she wants her beloved Tigers to know she's still roaring.
They can see that, oh, well, there's still nutty fans in Victoria. They haven't sort of turned up their toes and gone, nah, we're not watching it.
Almost as excited, Tiger legend Royce Hart. Does he ever tire of success?
That's a silly question. No, you go around, you hold your head high for 12 months and then it all starts all over again.
In 1967, Royce broke Geelong Hearts with this mark.
Instinctively, I jumped on his shoulder and it became a really famous mark.
Leading the Tigers to victory the last grand final they played against each other.
We were lucky enough to be in an era which was the best ever Richmond era.
But Royce points out if the Tigers win their 3rd premiership in 4 years, they still have 1 more to go to match his glorious era.
If they win 4, I think they can be on the same platform.
He gets so wound up, he'll listen to the game driving around Hobart in his car, surprising fellow motorists.
They think I'm mad, I suppose. Those that recognise me.
Dusty! Yes!
By contrast, Brenda will watch at home, all decked out in her Tigers outfit.
I've got to feel like I'm there, you know. Go Tigers, come on! I get wound up and then suddenly I'm at the game, even though I might be in there. I'm at the game, so I'm yelling and screaming.
It's been a season like no other, and Brenda says if the Tigers win, it'll be a celebration like no other.
I bet it will. 2 men have been charged after police seized more than 1,000 tins of baby formula. That's coming up. Plus, an urgent warning over deadly button batteries and how Bruce McAvaney is preparing for a historic day in Australian sport. We're back soon here on 7's Afternoon News.
You're invited to the
massive primetime event. Together, they should be unbeatable.
Australia's most formidable brainiacs.
Who's brave enough to take them on? All at once.
It's never happened before in Australia.
For record money.
$150,000.
This is Australia's greatest quiz challenge.
Game on.
Beat the Chasers. This November on 7.
Optus knows family life can be complicated. That's why you can share a massive 250 gigs across 4 SIMs per month with the Optus Family Plan. It starts with yes.
Take Cox Plate Day to the Ned's level. Back a horse in any race at Moonee Valley this Saturday and if it runs second or third, get up to $50 back in bonus bets. Take it to the Ned's level.
Guys, this has just arrived. Beautiful garment. There's a big stain on it. Trust Pink, Forget Hot, half a scoop, cold water from Vanish. I think this is going to be a bit of a challenge. I'm up for it. Pop it in the tub, cold water, give it a little bit of a rub. Blows my mind that it is this easy. How beautiful is this blouse? And look, no stain.
For amazing results, just cold wash with Vanish Oxy Action.
Look, there's a Davies new Jet Gladiator. What's he doing out here? Told me it comes with roadside assist, 10 price servicing and a 5-year warranty. Oh, talk about peace of mind. Oh, look, the roof comes off. I'm in. Namaste.
At Amcal, we're here to help with anything health.
Like 20% off the selected range of QV. The QV Intensive with Ceramides range supports the skin barrier and helps soothe dry, itchy skin.
For great savings and expert advice, just ask Amcal.
That's the one for you.
There's too many choices. I'm going to filter through these fillies fast.
You know you can select more than one filter.
Find your perfect match to your form preferences with Ned's Filter Form. Take it to the Ned's level.
It lives at first light, wherever we push ourselves. When we pull together, it lives over the door, at the end of every paintbrush, after the sun has set. It lives in going for a 6, where a 4 would have done it. It lives in every square inch of this place. And because we live here, Can lives here.
Perfect for Palm Springs and Aussie living.
Low maintenance and high impact.
How to make the most of indoor-outdoor living. New Better Homes tonight.
Police need help to identify these 2 men who were armed with weapons in a Frankston fight back in August. They are believed to be aged between 19 and 25. 3 other young men involved in the brawl have already been charged. 12 days out from the US election, President Trump and Joe Biden have gone head-to-head in the final debate. Critics say it was a calmer affair this time around as they clashed over COVID-19, Russian interference and race.
I think I have great relationships with all people. I am the least racist person in this room.
New rules were put in place to stop interruptions. 2 men have been charged accused of stealing baby formula in Sydney. Police raids uncovered more than 1,300 tins of formula and more than 1,000 bottles of vitamins.
The monetary value of the products seized yesterday by Auburn Police was $100,000, and I have been told that it would be worth approximately $300,000 if sold overseas.
They were stolen from several supermarkets. Police believe there are up to 80 people involved in the syndicate and more arrests are expected. Grieving parents are demanding urgent action after the tragic death of their 3-year-old daughter. As Katrina Blowers reports, little Brittany died after swallowing a button battery.
Well, medical professionals call them the landmines lurking in our homes, button batteries, and they're responsible for putting 20 children into hospital around the country every week. Sadly, a 3-year-old girl on the Gold Coast has become the third child to die in Australia since 2013 after swallowing a button battery. Brittany Conway died 3 weeks later after enduring significant medical procedures to save her. The little girl complained of a sore throat and began vomiting, but was initially diagnosed with a virus and sent home. Queensland Health won't comment on the case as the matter is under review.
The biggest issue we have is these batteries are everywhere. They're just in our lives. And even if you don't buy them, you're given them.
No amount of hypervigilance will protect all the kids. It takes less than 2 seconds for a child to stoop down, pick up a button battery, and you may never notice that they swallowed them.
The latest death has renewed calls for not only increased vigilance but government action. There is still no mandatory regulation on this matter in Australia. KidSafe says if you suspect your child has swallowed a button battery, whether charged or flat, you should contact 000 immediately.
Qantas has revealed its travel plans at an annual general meeting. The airline is looking at opening up new routes to Asia early next year under COVID-safe travel bubbles. Taiwan and South Korea could be on the list of destinations. The union representing Australia Post workers says the whole board should come under scrutiny. It comes a day after the boss, Christine Holgate, was stood down for gifting designer watches to executives. Ashley Hansen reports.
Good afternoon. The union is now calling for the entire board of Australia Post to be stood aside as an investigation into the Cartier watch scandal begins. At Senate estimates yesterday, CEO Christine Holgate delivered bombshell revelations, admitting 4 executives had been gifted $3,000 Cartier watches as a thank you for their performances.
It was a recommendation from our chair that these people get rewarded.
The watches were presented for people who are doing hard work. Well, I can tell you our posties and mail processors and drivers and retail staff are out there working hard every day.
Australia Post employees who are working harder than ever during the pandemic are said to be fuming. One worker even tweeting from the organisation's official account, "Don't forget about the behind the scenes and customer support workers. My wrist is light." The union says the watch scandal is just the tip of the iceberg.
Australia Post is trying to do twice the work with the same number of staff, and it just doesn't work out.
The federal opposition has echoed calls for the board to be stood aside as a 4-week investigation plays out. And while Chief Executive Christine Holgate has been sidelined, she'll still receive her full normal salary of around $100,000 per month.
One of our greatest broadcasters is in for the biggest day of his career tomorrow. Bruce McAvaney will be at the centre of Channel 7's Cox Plate and Grand Final coverage. It is the ultimate finish to a truly remarkable year behind the microphone.
It's been a special year for the footy world, none more so than in the commentary box.
Look, it has been a challenge. It's been a good one in so many ways because you feel like there's no alternative. You're flying by the seat of your pants, but it's exciting. So what I thought would be insurmountable at the start of the year has turned out to be workable and doable.
Confined by COVID travel restrictions, Bruce McAvaney's Adelaide home has become a makeshift studio. Dog Frankie and wife Annie turned production staff as one of the greats of Aussie broadcasting carries on in the COVID era.
In my case, I take the cup of tea to my wife because she's the tech expert, and without her I wouldn't get on air. Look, we've done some racing programs this year. We're quite frankly, Annie's been putting buttons in and this and that, and I've got no idea. I just sit there and yap on about the horses.
This Saturday, Bruce's 2 great loves, horse racing and AFL, come together like never before. The running of the 100th Cox Plate, followed by the first ever night grand final.
It's Geelong and Richmond at the Gabba.
I can't remember a bigger day personally. 7 have set up a racing studio for me at the Gabba. I'm going to be on air for many hours, but those hours will fly because I'm going to be having a lot of fun.
And like so many in 2020, he's found a silver lining in the COVID chaos.
I'm feeling much fresher this year than I would have been at this time last year, so I don't know, I'm hoping it might give me a year or 2 extra, but you know, that's in the lap of the gods. So I've still got to call a good grand final before I get the gig next year, so I don't take anything for granted.
Andrew McCormack, 7 News.
Thanks for being with us here on 7 News this Friday. Our top stories are next, plus the latest weather.
I don't care if they're celebrities. They're not going to know
what's hit them.
We're getting shot at!
Stop panicking.
The only way out is to quit.
Go without me. Go. You are a liability!
Everyone has their breaking point.
You get back on that log or you give me your number. Make a decision now.
SAS Australia, Monday, 7:30 on 7.
When you start with pork mince, who knows where you'll end up? Get some pork on your fork.
New Pepsi Max Mango. Max taste, no sugar.
At E&S, you might not be able to visit our stores, but you can still get big savings on big brands like Miele. Get this 7 kilo front load washer, now only $12.99. And this matching 7 kilo dryer, only $14.99. And if you buy these together, you'll save a total of $400, plus get up to 10% off Miele kitchen packages. And we won't be beaten on price. So visit us online or call our expert consultants and get the E&S feeling with Miele.
Sometimes you just have to say no. So when you say yes, it means a lot. Kinder Chocolate comes in little bars with lots of taste, so it's perfect for saying yes to at treat time. Kinder Chocolate, a little means a lot.
People are not like cars. Cars are easy. You put them in drive and they go. People are complicated. Cars don't have confusing rituals. Cars don't get all emotional. Cars don't have teenagers. I think that was the car. At My Car, we don't just look after cars, we look after the people who drive them. My Car Tyre and Auto. People first.
Gatorade studies the best athletes to create the most advanced range of sports fuel. Gatorade, you fuel us, we fuel you.
Elton John, Bruce Springsteen and Rod Stewart all performed at which Australian landmark? A, the 12 Apostles, B, Hanging Rock, C, Cradle Mountain.
How well do you know your music trivia? With big money on the line.
$60,000.
You The Chase, weekdays at 5 on 7.
This city, this state, it's worth fighting for. Our way of life. Understanding this city's stories, our stories, what really matters. That's why bringing the news home to Melbourne has never been more important.
You're seeing a live shot of our city on 7's afternoon news. A few clouds around. Melina Saras is here with the forecast in just a couple of minutes. Right now, though, Mike Amor is working on tonight's edition of 7 News at 6. And Mike, you've got details on the arrests of Melbourne men involved in a child exploitation ring.
Blake, police arrested 11 men in Victoria and rescued 6 children as part of a nationwide blitz on child abuse material. These men were aged between 19 and 55 and many had regular jobs, a truck driver, a hospitality manager, or they worked in construction. Just frightening stuff, and at 6 we'll explain how the investigation discovered their online crimes, Blake.
On a slightly brighter note, the AFL season has been one to remember. It's pretty extraordinary to think they made it this far.
Yes, it is. The season has been a nice distraction for Melbourne during lockdown, hasn't it? Tonight, Tim Watson takes a look at how the AFL managed to pull it off and get to a grand final. From round 1 in empty stadiums here in Melbourne to the grand final all the way up in the Gabba. And of course, Blake will have the very latest on the Tigers and Geelong preparations for that huge game tomorrow night. You know what I'm going to say. Go the Tigers.
Where's your Tigers jumper?
Later.
To see that. All right, Mike. See you at 6. Thanks. Let's take a quick look at Melbourne's roads now.
Good afternoon, I'm Jess Miller in the Tassal Salmon traffic chopper. At the moment, we're just taking a flight over the city where a protest is underway. We've watched the anti-lockdown protesters march up towards the Shrine of Remembrance. There was a strong police presence there waiting for them. They continued along St Kilda Road, down Park Street, now moving on to Kingsway, literally stopping traffic. Spag bowl night, stir fry for dinner, switch it for salmon this week with fresh or smoked Tassal salmon. Tassal, it's Tasmanian for salmon. Have a great evening.
Banksy's take on a Monet masterpiece is sold for a staggering $13 million at auction. Show Me the Monet was completed by the British street artist in 2005. The work is a modern-day appropriation of a classic, complete with environmental pollution. All right, let's get an update on the weather with Melina Saris. Mel, rain is moving in tonight.
Blake, it has been dry and humid for much of the day, but rain is moving in. The city started on a low of 13 and we made it to 19.7 this afternoon. It is still mild and humid out there, 21 in Geelong, 22 at Yarra Glen. Rain is due to arrive tonight. It will be the heaviest over the northeastern suburbs. So far, though, the heaviest falls have been over the northeast of the state. 15 millimetres has fallen at Mount Hotham, but the main event is tonight. We can expect persistent rain through to tomorrow morning. Heavy falls are possible and so are isolated thunderstorms, which could lead to flash flooding. Temperature-wise, outside now, it is 21 in Ballarat, 23 in Bendigo, 24 at Bairnsdale. Our eastern catchments are already very wet out there, so these areas are back on flood watch. And if we take a look at the satellite, a low-pressure system is causing all of this rain, and that is sitting over Victoria's northwest, directing a humid and unstable air mass across the state. A deepening trough will move eastwards on Saturday, connecting with a cold front which has been sweeping across Tasmania. So we can expect that persistent rain from tonight into Saturday morning. It'll move eastwards, clearing the state on Saturday evening. So a severe weather warning is in place for heavy rainfall, which may lead to flash flooding. That is expected overnight and into Saturday morning. We could see some rainfall totals of between 10 to 35 millimetres over a 6-hour period. Falls of up to 60 millimetres are possible. Around the nation for tomorrow, a possible shower in Brisbane for the grand final tomorrow and a top of 28 degrees. Showers and a possible storm in Sydney, 26, a possible shower in Adelaide and mostly sunny in Perth. But in Victoria, we will see widespread rain and isolated thunderstorms contracting to central and eastern parts during the morning and then moving off to the east. It'll be cloudy and mild in the east, but those temperatures will freshen during the day. It'll be cold enough for snow on the Alps at night. A top of 12 in Ballarat, 18 in Bendigo, 15 there at Terralgan. Rain will ease in the city tomorrow. It'll be cloudy and cold from a low of 12. We're only climbing a few degrees to a top of 15. I'll have the full forecast at 6 o'clock, Blake.
All right, Mel, thank you very much for that. And that is all from Melbourne's afternoon news. Thanks for joining us. At 6, Mike Amor has details on how the northern suburbs cluster will affect restrictions easing on Sunday. But for now, from the 7 News team, enjoy the rest of your afternoon.